I will introduce third session of this course. Today, a very valuable and expert teacher of the teacher and mentor of the mentor. And if I'm correct, he's a teacher of the second generation, father like teacher, brother like teacher, and a brigadier retired professor, Dr. Aamir Ijaz, who is a FRCP in chemical pathologist and from London, UK, Edinburgh, and wrote many chapters in the books, as well as many articles and thousands of students they produce in chemical pathology, and still he is engaged in teaching in this session, which is going throughout Pakistan and international, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Maldives, UAE, USA, Canada, and UK. And he is a right now professor and consultant of chemical pathologist in Bahia International Hospital. And thank you so much, sir, for accepting our invitation. And we have a lots of books. We have a lots of books and Google Scholar and many search engines we have, and on the right click or in the put on the finger and to see the literatures, many books, many SOPs, many standards. But we need a good teacher, and we need the teacher. And this is a Japanese proverb: better than 1,000 days of diligent study is one day with a great teacher. Just like we have a holy book of Quran, but Allah sent many 1,24,000 prophets to for our guidance, to in the light of Quran, for teaching of us. That's just like a teacher for us in the earth and in the world. So now I'm inviting on the behalf of Liaquat University of Medical Health Sciences, Jamshoro, Dr. Professor Aamir Ijaz, to please continue their talk. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much, Dr. Archie. It is really an honor to be part of this course, and I really feel honored that you have invited me for the talk. And there are many other talks by me, and inshallah I will deliver them during the course. Without And thank you very much for nice introduction, and for saying good words for me and for the compliments. So now, without further delay, I'll start the talk. The topic which has been, I hope everybody can hear me, and I'm in the bad habit of doing some interaction with the students also. My students know this thing. So I don't know how it will be possible to get your answers during the lectures, but you should keep a pen and paper with you. And if there are any questions, you should write the answers with you, so that you can do some mental exercise, you can do some critical thinking. And I may not be getting your answer, but if possible, you can write your answer in the chat box, so that I know that you are awakening and you are taking part in the session. And if possible, you can unmute yourself if the admin allows you. And if you think the question is very important, you can interrupt me and ask me. Actually, I'm a very traditional teacher. I'm in the habit of talking to the live students, live audience, and I always give students the chance to interrupt me and ask questions. Because if there is something which is in your mind and you don't ask it, then you will not gaining anything further in the lecture. So the topic given to me is choice of QC material. This is a very important course which Dr. Archie has masterminded. and Dr. Abdul Rahman. He has managed it very well. Um, I really appreciate them. I have no words for appreciation, because for a laboratory person, whether he's a pathologist or a laboratory manager, laboratory technologist, technician, this is very, very important topic: quality maintenance and quality control. It is uh, uh, like like patient management in the specialties. So when we talk of quality control, very important thing is the QC material. What is QC material and how to choose it? So we'll be talking about it. This is a disclaimer: no conflict of interest, but there will be proprietary names from corporate sector. I may be mentioning them. The purpose is not to be biased, but the purpose is that uh, the audience are well aware of the available products. Uh, if when you are working in a lab, you are it is almost certain that you will come across this dilemma of choosing one of the products, and so you must be knowing about the various firms which are working in Pakistan, various products, various instruments, and the kits and the reagents, etc. You see, in our books also, the textbooks, uh, the trade names are given because it is a part of our job to know about them. So at the end of this lecture, the students will be able to describe the process involved in choice of QC material. Now, how to define a QC material? There are two definitions I have picked from the literature. One is from IFCC, International Federation of Clinical Chemistry. This, if, if somebody doesn't know about it, this is the World Federation of Chemical Pathology or Clinical Chemistry. All the national societies, they are member of this. Pakistan Society of Chemical Pathologists, which is now the largest society working for chemical pathology, rather the only society working for chemical pathology. We are also member of ICC, and we pay their dues annually, membership dues. So they have defined that the QC material is a specimen or solution which is analyzed solely for quality control purposes, not for calibration. So it is not a patient, usually not a patient sample. It is not a calibrator. It is something else. Mr. Westcard, Dr. Westcard is a big name in quality. When we say quality control, this name comes to our mind. Dr. Westcard. He's not a medical doctor. He was a technologist, and he developed a wonderful system of quality control. So he defined control material as a control solution that is available usually commercially in liquid, frozen, or lyophilized form, packaged in small bottles, suitable for use on daily basis. So usually these control material, they come in the form of a reagent kit, and there are small vials. Usually there are 12 vials or 10 vials in a box, and you have to usually buy it commercially. But let me give you a historical perspective also. It is not always that it has not been always that we buy the commercial controls. Previously, there were many other methods which were available for obtaining the quality controls. One was the leftover patient samples, then bovine serum from butchery. When we were doing training about 30 years ago, one of our supervisors, he gave us a task that go to the nearby butchery and collect some blood from them. So we took a pail, a big pail, and rather two, three pails, and we collected a lot of blood from there, which had drained from the animals, and we came here, and then we tried to make our own controls. We we analyzed those serum, and it was almost free, no cost at all. Similarly, we also did collected the leftover patient samples, and we also try to make our own controls. But with the passage of time, these methods were not very popular. They got obsolete, and commercial controls were readily available. So now it is almost 100% situations these controls are used. Commercial controls are used. I have a very nice analogy. Yeah, I hope our foreign um, participants they will also understand, because culturally we are quite similar. That previously our in our marriages, foods were cooked at home. There were big containers which we called degs, and the eggs were cooked at home, and then in the morning they were served to the guest who would be sitting in the tents outside your house. And instead of that, now we have shadi halls, marriage halls, and we do all everything is now commercial. Even the flowers they are bought from commercial farms, the photographers, etc., etc. So similarly, in control materials, instead of in-house preparation, we are now almost 100% dependent on the commercial controls. Now, as I said earlier, I will be asking you some questions. So, my first question is, it is in the form of MCQ. A consultant pathologist has just joined a state-of-the-art hospital lab in Saudi Arabia. His mudir, you may be understanding what is mudir. Mudir is the head of the any department, and in this case, the head of the laboratory. His mudir has instructed him that the lab results should be very accurate and precise, and that best reagents and equipment may be procured without compromising quality of test results. So there is no problem of money, and but he cannot compromise on the quality, and even a single wrong result will cost the job to the pathologist. So this was made clear to the pathologist, and now he has to select one of the quality control materials. So which of the following material the pathologist will choose to start the internal quality control program? Lyophilized bovine unassayed control, lyophilized bovine acid controls, liquid human and assay controls, lyophilized human unassay controls, liquid bovine acid. So the question actually is, which one is the best out of these, regardless of the price, because there is no dearth of money. So so most of very good. A lot of students have written C, and I'm very happy that yes, it is the best answer. C, liquid human and assay control. Liquid human and assay control. Those who do not know anything about it, and the whole question passed above their head, please hold on. I'll explain everything to you. So QC material can be human or bovine. One thing is that yes, you can still get QC material from animals, maybe from goats, from chicken, from bovine, anything. Secondly, it can be lyophilized or liquid. By lyophilization, we mean that it's a process by which the liquid is converted into solids. So if it is a serum or any other liquid, it is vaporized, and the powder, the control material comes in the powder form. The third is acid or an acid. There are some controls available in which the target values are given, and there are some control material in which target values are not given. So these are the three main types. So why human is better than bovine? Because human, the if you are using bovine controls, the value of glucose, for example, may be away from the human value. Maybe their normal is, I don't know really, but maybe their normal value is 56, or their normal value is 78, while in human we take it 100. So when it is away from the human value, it is not useful for us. So values are closer to patient values. So so that's why we use human. But in human we have to be very very careful. I go back to our experiment which we did during our training period. that we collected human serum from the leftover samples, but we couldn't continue it because uh, we collected about 1 liter each. We were three students and we collected 1 liter student serum in just in 2 days. But all these samples, they were positive for hepatitis. So it is very dangerous if we are using human serum without sterilization. It is not safe. It is hazardous. So you have to sterilize it, and there are now methods available which can sterilize it, and the commercial available controls, they pass through that process, and all hepatitis etc. infections, they are sterilized. So now the commercial controls are infection free. Lyophilized or liquid, which is better? Just write in your chat box, which is better, lyophilized or liquid? Which one you will like? Liquid, lyophilized, liquid. Good. So you are doing some mental exercise, which I really wanted. Liquid is better because the lyophilized, you have to add water in the lab, distilled water usually, and that distilled water, for example, you have to add 5 ml to make it a liquid. Uh, it has to be very accurate, and no pipette in the world can measure exactly 5 ml. I mean the pipettes which we use in the lab, commonly used pipettes. It may be 4.99 or 5.0001, but it may not, usually it is not exactly 5 ml. And there are pipetting errors, can be more than that. So if you are using a liquid control, it will be exactly 5 ml, because it will be made by some very good method, excellent methods of measurement. So that's why the liquid controls, they are expensive and they are better. But there is a problem in liquid controls, that you have the storage condition has to be perfect. And in our setup, the liquid controls might be not might not be stored in a proper place, and there can be some deterioration in the liquid controls. So that's why, although it is lesser than quality lyophilized, I will still advocate that we should use lyophilized controls in our setup. So liquid is of high cost, but if you are working in Saudi Arabia and there is no problem of money, you should go for liquid control because it will be very accurate. Acid or unacid? Obviously, acid is better um, um, because acids are acid controls. They are you do not have to do this step of assaying the controls. Now, next question is: your lab is in the process of finalizing an agreement with an international firm for provision of an automated immunoassay system. As a laboratory manager, you are required to select the QC material. The firm has offered various options for provision of QC material. Which of the following options you will select for procurement of QC material? QC material from the firm which has manufactured the reagents, QC material from the firm which has manufactured the autoanalyzer, QC material from a third party using calibrator for QC, using previous day patient samples for QC. So, right, this is a very important question, and we will talk in length about this problem. So, I'll expect you to give your answer. So, I expect there are various answers: A, B, C, A, B, C. So, you people are divided on this. A lot of B's, a lot of C's, B, C. I'm enjoying your answers. A. There are A's also. I don't. Some of you I know very well, but most of you I don't know really. But it is very interesting that you are participating in it. C C C A. Okay. Now, without further delay, I'll give you the final answer. It is C, QC material from a third party. So you can argue with me why it is the correct answer. Why not A? Why not B? Why not C? Uh, I wish I could hear your answers live, but then it is not possible in this method of teaching. So I'll go to the details myself. Third party controls are like neutral umpires. Previously, the umpires were in cricket, the umpires were of the same country who were playing. But it is from our current Prime Minister Imran Khan who actually gave this proposal of neutral umpires. And since then, we are using the third umpires. So, third party is like neutral umpires, not third umpire, rather neutral umpires. That means the umpire is from the from a country which is not playing. So third party is the term used to describe a control that has not been designed or optimized for use with a specific test or system. It is not specific for any system. So it is more closer to the patient sample. Now patient does not come and say that my blood is more closer to the is closer to the rod system, is closer to the Abbott system. It is a natural product and you have to test it as such. Similarly, third party control is not specific for any system or any region system, any instrument system or any region system. It will better mirror the performance of a patient samples and provide an unbiased, independent assessment of analytical performance. Like neutral umpires, it is unbiased, independent assessment of analytical performance. Now, uh, I'll I'll stress this point very much because only a good qualified pathologist or a laboratory manager or laboratory technologist will know it. I'll tell you an incident that once I got a telephone from our. I was working in a big hospital, and their in charge of the medical store. He called me that I received a kit from a company, and the company has provided the standards, but and the region, but not the control. So I rejected the kits. The company people they approached me and said, "Sir, don't you use third party control? Why are you stressing the control from our firm?" So I give a big laugh and I said, "The person who called you is not a technical person. I know we use third party controls, and they do not need control of manufactured by your firm." So common persons may not be knowing it. You are the advocates now, and you have to create this awareness. Wherever available, you should go for the third party controls. Now, third party control and the other controls are called dedicated QC material. So, dedicated versus third party. So, by dedicated means it is from same instrument and same region system. So many instrument and region manufacturers provide dedicated quality control for use with their own region and analyzes. Optimized for use with these specific assays or system, these controls often mask weakness. This is very important. They mask weakness uh, because they have been made for their own system, for their own regions. So now it is clear that they are considered less effective compared to third party control. So dedicated controls are less effective than the third party controls. Now, in ISO 15189, we will be talking in this course also. I think there are a lot of talks on ISO 15189 standards in this course. The regulatory bodies, other regulatory bodies also, they have collaborated in the Clinical and Laboratory Standards Institute. It is summed up nicely in the following statement. Quality control materials should be different from the calibrator materials to ensure that the QC procedure provides an independent assessment of the measurement procedures performance in its entirety, including the procedure for calibration of the measurement. So it should never be of the same which have made the calibrators. So calibrators and the regions also, they should be different manufacturers, while the controls should be of different manufacturers. Now I give you real world examples. I have taken it from the Rendox website. These two examples, they are real world. Rendox is a British company, and they manufacture uh, the QC material. I got this, and this is not too regional, but I got it from their website. But it is a real world, real incidents. A laboratory in England reported higher than range QC results for thyroglobulin. When using third-party control, the results were 4 times higher on their main analyzer compared to other systems. So when they were using third-party control, the values came 4 times higher. However, when they ran the instrument manufacturer's control alongside the third-party control, it did not show the same problem. So when they used their own controls, it was perfect, it was accurate, and after reviewing the equate data, it was confirmed that there was a significant difference in results between the instruments. So, external quality assurance is another method, and we will talk about it also. That showed that the results were not accurate; they were far behind the accuracy. So, what was then done after an exhaustive review of procedure and processes? The customer contacted the instrument manufacturer, who advised of a positive bias with several batches of reagents, including the batch of the laboratory who were using them. So, in a nutshell, what was the problem? That the third party controls, they were showing for thyroglobulin, they were very high, 4 times higher. The controls from the same company, same instrument, they were normal, and they were not showing any problem. And a basic principle of QC, in the words of Westcard, is it is to dig out any hidden secret, and which is not visible, any error. You have to dig out the errors. You have to be like a Sherlock Holmes. You have to detect errors. If you not detect the errors yourself, your patients will get the erroneous results. So please remember, I think somebody will tell you this, that the basic principle of QC is to dig out the hidden inner secret error. So if you are using the same control, it will be hush up. The everything will be behind below the carpets. But if you are using third-party control, such error will become obvious. So what was the conclusion? By using a third-party control, the laboratory was able to detect a shift in results after changing region that the instrument manufacturers controls did not. So, and manufacturer control could not find this error, which third party could. Another example, case study 2, a laboratory was experiencing problem with low recovery of third-party control ALT. So the laboratory was using third-party controls, and their ALT was low. The recovery was low. The instrument manufacturers had advised the laboratory that it was a control problem and recommended that if they use a control from another manufacturer, they would not observe the problem. The problem was invest. So they said that your control material is not correct, and they said they should use their own control. The problem was investigated, and it was found that the patient results were also being wrongly reported below. So patient results were also low. The third party control were low, and the patient results were low. When the test was run using the control, sorry, when the test was run using the control recommended by the instrument manufacturers, it failed to highlight the problem, leading to the conclusion that the metrics of the recommended control must be different to a patient metrics. So they were using their own control, probably of the different metrics, and it was not showing the result. It was not showing the error. Via third party control, they were showing the error. The instrument manufacturer recommended a wash stage to the customer, which eliminated the carryover interference, which was causing the low result. So low result was due to some carryover problem. Conclusion in this is the customer overcame this problem by programming in an extra watch cycle. However, had the lab used the QC recommended by the instrument manufacturer, they would never have identified that they had a problem and would have continued to report inaccurate patient result, leading to possible patient misdiagnosis. So this is important. Now I hope you understand Why third party control is important? Because they cannot you understand, the if you are the manufacturer, you are the manufacturer of the instrument, manufacturer of the region, manufacturer of the calibrators, you will, and you are also the manufacturer of the controls, the error may be hidden, and it is very much likely that the error will be hidden. So a good quality control only works effectively. It has a similar metric SUSY sample type being used. So usually third-party controls, they are made of the patient serum. So that's why there is no matrix effect. So this is just one factor. There are other factors also for which we recommend third-party controls. So, as I said earlier, we will take some commercial names also, and it is just to guide you. I'm not a rep of any of these companies. There are two big firms, Rendox from UK and Biored from United States. They are the main manufacturers of the quality control materials, both internal quality control and external quality assurance. So, at least in Pakistan, they are widely available. There are others also, but these two are very famous, and they are of good quality controls. So you can buy them. Now, if you're using Roche system, Abbott system, or you are using Siemens, or you are using any other system in chemical pathology, you must not use the control of the same company. You should use some other controls. If you are using Rendox reagents, then you should not use Rendox controls. If you're using Biorad reagent system, you should not buy Biorad controls. This is the principle. I hope it is clear now. Question number 3. You are working in a tertiary care hospital lab as a resident chemical pathologist. Your lab has a huge load of electrolytes analysis. Which of the following levels of controls you will use for monitoring the potassium assay? Now, for potassium, which control levels you will use? This question is pertaining to the levels. What is level? I will tell you later on. But for those who know it, it is for their uh, assessment of prior knowledge. So 3 levels: low, normal, and high. 3 levels: normal, high, and very high. 2 levels: low and high. 2 levels: low and normal. 2 levels: normal and high. So let's see what you have written in the chat box. So mostly A, mostly A. There is a C also. A, E, A, D. So I think about 80% students have uh, given the answer of A, and this is the correct answer. This is the best answer. 3 levels. These are one best type of questions. You may use 2 levels, no harm in that, but best is 3 levels. And 3 levels should include low, normal, and high. Why? Let's see. At least 2 levels. First of all, principle is that you must use 2 levels. You must use 2 levels. Just one control is not sufficient. You cannot apply Westgard rules, which you will study in the subsequent talks. You cannot apply Westgard rules if you are using just one level. You have to use 2 levels. And but because uh, the you may be testing glucose, for example, and in glucose, most of the patient, they are in the normal range. 80% may be in the normal range, but 20% patient will be of higher glucose. So you must be cater for those higher values also, and at least you should use 2 values. Yes, there may be hypoglycemic levels, but they are very, very rare, and you may not, you may dispense with this low levels in glucose assay. But for those assays in which both low and high values are important, 3 levels are necessary. Now, in the question, the example was of potassium. Hypokalemia is also important, and hyperkalemia is also important. Both conditions are clinically very significant and very common. for potassium, hypokalemia is also common and hyperkalemia is also common. So you have to check, monitor your test at both the levels. And normal, of course, is important. So that's why for potassium and for other analytes, you must use three levels: level 1, level 2, level 3, low, normal, or high. Similarly, for ABDs, mostly there are three levels: low, normal, or high. So these ABG controls, they come separately. They are in the vials and you have to use them. So my take home message is appropriate control material plays vital role in the internal QC scheme, and liquid, human, and assay controls are the best choice but are expensive. Third party control, if available, must be used. For analytes with clinically significant low and high values, three levels should be used. Now, I have not taken much time, nearly in 40 minutes, I have finished it. Now, for the next 15-20 minutes, if you have any question, you can write your question in the chat box, and or if the admin allows, you can unmute your mic and ask questions. Any questions, please let me know. Oh, there is a question. Please tell the difference between control and calibrator. I'm very happy, Dr. Muhammad Yunus Jamal. He has asked this question. Wonderful, beta. Yeah, this is a very basic question. Calibrator is it the thing with which you measure something. I usually give the example, and I'll give it again to you. Uh, the question about ICG, Dr. Yusra, I'll answer later on. Please hold on. I usually give example that our female colleagues must be knowing it when they go to bazaar to buy some cloth to the cloth market, and they say to the shopkeeper that uh, they want 1 meter of the cloth. So what the shopkeeper does is he measures the cloth against a rod which is of 1 meter. Now this rod 1 meter is standard. From where that meter has come, there is a rod in the world, somewhere in Switzerland or somewhere else, made of platinum, which is which is kept in which is kept in standard condition, standard temperature, pressure. It is exactly 1 meter, and all the calibrators or standard, they have come derived from those, that platinum rod. Or, or 1 kg is similarly, there is a kg material lying somewhere. So calibrator and standard is the same thing. Please remember this thing. There is no difference between calibrator and standard. They are one and the same thing. And now the same situation, somebody complained of that shopkeeper that its meter rod is not correct. Is short. He has done some trick and he has shortened his meter rod. So some inspector goes and he takes his own meter and measures it. So this is quality control. So the thing with against which you measure anything is standard, and the thing with which you see that every all the processes are working, they are called control. Now uh, can we use control the calibrators or standard for control? No, big no. We cannot use calibrators or standards for control. Because you have assigned your values yourself. All the tests in laboratory, they uh, they are done against some standard. Please remember this thing. The What was the other question? uh, Okay, sir, doesn't normal level value gets covered between higher and lower? No, no, no. Because the higher lower value may be very low, and higher values may be very high. So ideally you have to use three. You may not be using all three on the same day, but if you there are financial constraint, you may use low and normal one day and normal and higher the other day. But ideally, all three should be done in the same thing. And control can be used? No, control cannot be used because control, they are not prepared with the same methods with which we measure which are used for the manufacture of calibrators. Now I'll give you another examples. Please excuse me for giving such common word examples. Uh, if some one of you is fond of keeping dogs, you know the dogs of with pedigree, they are very expensive. They may be in millions of rupees. The dog with good pedigree, because the pedigree dogs, they are supposed to be very good dogs, and they can be trained, they are well behaved, whereas the wild dogs, they can be very less expensive. Similarly, the calibrators, for calibrators we use a term traceability. So traceability is like pedigree. So if you are using a calibrator or standard in the lab, you must have a traceability for that calibrator or standard to the primary standard, which is which has been measured by a definite or reference method. Controls are not measured by reference method. Controls are measured by ordinary methods. Okay, ji. Can we use third-party control for infection materials? Ideally, you should use third-party control, but there is a big question of availability. Uh, if third-party controls are not available for 100% of tests. Even in chemical pathology, also there may be some tests you may not find third-party controls. In that case, you have to use manufacturer's own controls, or you have to, even manufacturer may not provide you control, but you cannot dispense with the using the control. In that case, you have to use some known patient samples. In infectious parameters, sometimes you do not get the controls even of the from the same company. So in that case, you have to use the some known patient samples. The any other questions? So thank you for how and who ensures the quality of third. Oh yes, third party controls quality. They are from the renowned firms. Those renowned firms, they get you can ask them this question, and they would show you the documents with which they have been accredited from some authority. For example, in UK, ACAS is the authority which checks these things, and they give certificate to them. For Nova 4 electrolytes, we are using two level. Both levels are okay, but doctor continues complaining about pricing showing high results in patient with what have to do. Uh, One thing, number one, you should use three levels. Then you can be very confident about your results. Secondly, the frequent higher potassium can be because of the pre-analytical errors. This can be a pseudo hyperkalemia. You may not be using any preservative in your tubes. One thing I tell you, very important tip for electrolyte analysis, especially potassium analysis, that you must use lithium heparin tube. The lithium heparin tube that makes plasma, in which there is very low leakage of potassium from the RBCs. So pseudo hyperkalemia doesn't occur. Another question: if our EQA results is not in range, what we check? Uh, if EQA result is not in your range, then you do the troubleshooting. That is a lengthy process, and I'll talk about troubleshooting also. And then you you test your uh, material again, and if the fault has been rectified, the same EQA material will be now in the closer to the results. On board stability effects on controls, yes, definitely you have to follow the manufacturer's instruction for the control stability of the controls. How performance specification limits are set for designing our QC strategy, and what about our analytical goals? Dr. Shafiq, SM Shafiq Alawi, you have asked a question which we'll discuss, inshallah, in the subsequent talks. It's a very good question, and yeah, but rather advanced question. That if how to make strategies for your QC, keeping in mind the performance specification. This is called QC Sigma metrics, in Sigma metrics, and Westgard is latest thing about it. Yes, if your performance is very good, you can you can compromise with one or two uh, Westgard rules, but in detail we will discuss later on. Good question, really, Mr. Shafiq Alawi. Next, if we get control from manufacturer, what impact does on our analyzer? The if this is Irma Akram, uh, if you are using the control from the manufacturer, the error may not be obvious, and that may give you false impression that this is your test is good, whereas it is not. So please try to avoid the control from the same manufacturer. Sir, how we can determine frequency of QC in order to detect maximum errors? Yeah, a very simple rule of frequency of QC is that every batch, for every batch, you should use a QC. For example, if you are doing the test once a day, you should use the QC once a day. If you are using two batches, then two QC per day. Three batches, three QC per day. If you're doing the test on weekly basis, then run control on weekly. So that why it is called run. The run is the actually when you have done the QC. It may not be daily, it may not be, it may be weekly, it may be after 3 days, it may be monthly even. So it is called run. How can we detect random? LJ chart is a separate topic, beta, Dr. Shumaila, and we will discuss it when it will come. Random errors are very common. For example, 3S errors, they are random errors, and 2S, this is a random error because the error across the mean. If the error comes once on the positive sign and next day on the negative sign, then it is random error. If the error is coming on the same side of the mean, it is systematic error. And next question, but we will discuss LJ chart next. Bovine assays are obsolete or still in use. They are available in market, but and with the low price. But the problem is that their values are away from the human values. So it is not very good to use them, but they are less expensive. Any other question? If use third-party controls, then vendor not accept mostly and divert it to third-party control issue. No. You, Dr. Javed Jabbar, you should not go to the vendors, say, uh, if third-party control is not good and you are using a good manufacturer of the third-party control, then you should be firm that there is something wrong in the assay. Don't agree on the vendor that it is okay. Maybe one vial is not good, and you may reuse the another vial, but don't say that it is always the third party problem. Sir, please explain the accurate and precise. I think you have to wait, Mr. Badni, you have to wait a week or so. There is a full lecture on accuracy and precision. But roughly, accuracy is nearness to the true value, whereas precision is the reproducibility, that how much the values are close when they are repeated. They may be away from the true value, but they are they are closer to each other. Any other question? Okay, I think sufficient discussion, and If there are no questions, uh, okay, I give the mic to the administration now. Okay, moderator, please, should we finish it or you have to give some comments?
Hello, are you
Yes,
hearing now? Sir, are you hearing my voice?
yes, I can hear you loudly.
Thank you so much, sir. Wonderful talk and lots of questions and queries in the mind of the participant, and they resolved through your experience and explanation. Answer one question is still in pending. What is the meaning of matrix? What
Yes,
matrix
yes.
means?
Uh-huh. Matrix means the actually the proteins and all those things which are present in serum, for example. Uh, if you are using the human blood or the serum, there are uh, there are other things which are present in the serum other than the analyte itself. For example, proteins, for example, lipids, for example, carbohydrates, etc. So this is called matrix. So if you are using, for example, you are using distilled water, you have prepared a control by dissolving glucose in distilled water and using it as a control. It is not good because it doesn't have the same structure which the serum has. Structure means the matrix, the proteins, the other things, other substances which are present in the serum. I hope I have answered the question.
Yes, thank you, sir, to share your valuable experience and give your precious time. And thank you all of participants who are enthusiastically participating in this course. And thank you so much. And by the end of this weekend, you will get all the materials, recorded presentations by Google Classroom. I think many of the participants got the emails and sharing the links of the Google Classroom, and the rest of which don't understand. So we will discuss yeah, tomorrow. In Dr. Hafsa, before Dr. Hafsa presentations, she will discuss with you accuracy and precision. And thank you so much, all of you.
Just one thing, Dr. Archie. I think it is, I can't stop, help myself saying this. This is wonderful. Total success. Total success. 175 participants. I never talked to such a big audience.
No, sir.
175 sites.
No, sir.
One,
This is not only 175 because in one link, just like as if you show my show camera to my audience, there is in this classroom around 35 to 40
oh
students.
my
So,
God.
we have registered participant right now 425.
Oh, mashallah. Very good. So, congratulations on doing such a wonderful exercise. Thank you very much. Okay, Allah Hafiz.